this video we're going to look at auto layout in Figma. So jumping back into our file, I'm going to grab the frame tool at the top and I'm going to draw out a frame. And inside the frame, let's add some rectangles. And I'm just going to align them here. Okay, so if we click on the frame itself and go to auto layout here, what auto layout will help us with is, so we've got the vertical and the horizontal directions here, and then we've got the space between the items within the frame. So if I do vertical, it's going to push all the elements in this frame vertical, and then I can control the spacing between them by adjusting this number here. And if I go horizontal, it will do the same there. If I want to add some additional padding, so some padding around these elements, we can do it here as well in auto layout. So if you click on this icon here, alignment and padding, and it's already added some details in here, but say I wanted 200 at the top, 200 at the side, the bottom and the left. Every time that we go, so it's always going to allow for 200 around these shapes, and as we move the space, as you can see, it's allowing the 200 to stay exactly the same as we expand the spacing. So you can make the spacing really big between these shapes, and the space around them will remain at 200 or whatever you specify in this box here. So now I've changed the top and the bottom to 100. So as you can see, it says mixed here. So when you click onto alignment and padding, you can see we've got different values in each of these sections. So if I just change that back to 200, then it shows us that everything around it is an equal 200. Okay, then we've got some resizing options here. For the width, if we did a fixed width, so this is the frame in its current state, and I've now fixed the width. As I expand the spacing, you'll notice that it's not expanding the frame anymore as I've fixed the width of the frame. So if I edit undo, if I change that to hug contents, and now when I expand, it's allowing us to have the same amount of spacing around it as we kind of adjust this panel here. Hope that makes sense. Same goes with the height. The other options we have, when we click back into alignment and padding, there's an option here for space between. So again, you can do adjust these values for the space between the items. You can change where they sit in the frame, so the top, the middle, or the bottom. If I just change that back to packed, again you can do the same for packed. So you can move them around, top, middle or bottom, depending on the size, the shape of the frame. Okay, and another example of auto layout, I have got a menu up here. The menu is wrapped in a frame. I've got in one frame here the company name or maybe the company logo, and in the other frame on the left, as you can see, I've got the home page, about, and some other pages just here. So if I click on the main frame, as you can see within it, I've got the two frames here. So I'm going to go over to the alignment and padding. I'm going to go from packed and I'm going to go space between, which is going to push those frames apart. And let me drag this frame into the artboard I have down here. Right, that's all good. And now if I go to the constraints, so I want to fix this frame, this menu that I've created, to the left and the right. So when I'm designing, it moves responsively with the artboard. So I know this is not the prettiest menu, but say in this case we've got a 14-inch MacBook, if we then duplicate this frame and say we wanted to shrink the artboard and make it for an iPad, we can, because we've activated auto layout and we've given it the constraints here of kind of fixing to the left and the right, so it makes it a lot easier when designing for different screens, and it makes it responsive. Also, something else that's quite useful, if I go into this frame that's got the pages, frame 4, if I click here and give it an auto layout, and now if I click on this page, if I wanted the about page to be in front of the home page, you can move them. So it just makes it a lot easier to move things around once you've got auto layout applied to the frame. So another useful tip. Hopefully it's not too confusing. I think it's one of those things that you play around with and you get used to it. And we will probably experiment a little bit more with it as we go throughout this course. So hopefully it was helpful. Any questions, let me know, and I'll see you in the next video.